My wife Sharon stood in our kitchen Tuesday night, arms crossed, demanding I apologize to Keith Bradley for embarrassing him at the church potluck. I said okay, grabbed my folder from the truck, and drove straight to his house. What I told him and his wife next destroyed both our marriages in under 10 minutes. My name is Russell Hartwell. I'm 57 years old, been running Hartwell Construction here in Cincinnati for 30 years. Until 3 weeks ago, I thought my 28-year marriage was rock solid. Sharon and I raised 2 good kids. Wayne's 24 now, works with me in the business, and Susan's 21, finishing college at Ohio State. Good family, good life, or so I thought. Tuesday evening I walked through the door after a brutal day dealing with a concrete pour that went sideways. My lower back was killing me, and all I wanted was a beer in my recliner. But Sharon was waiting in the kitchen with that look. You know the one, arms folded, jaw set tight. That "you're already in trouble" expression wives perfect over the years. "We need to talk," she said, before I could even set down my work bag. I loosened my collar. "About what?" "Keith called. He's upset about last Sunday at the potluck." Keith Bradley, Sharon's friend from the building supply company where I've been buying materials for 15 years. Nice enough guy on the surface, but lately something felt off about how close he and Sharon had gotten. The way they'd find reasons to talk after church, how she'd light up when his name came up in conversation. Little things that individually meant nothing, but together painted a picture I didn't want to see. "What about it?" I asked, though I knew exactly what she meant. "You embarrassed him," Sharon said, her voice tight with that controlled anger I'd learned to recognize. "When he hugged me after I told him about Wayne getting that project management certification, you pulled him aside and said something about keeping things professional. He felt attacked." I grabbed a glass of water, buying time. His hand had been on her lower back for a solid 10 seconds. "That's not a friendly church hug, that's something else entirely. Any husband with eyes could see it." "Sharon, that wasn't appropriate and you know it." "Oh my God, here we go." She threw up her hands in that dramatic way that told me she'd already rehearsed this conversation. "You're being paranoid again. Keith is a family friend. He was being supportive and you made it weird." "I made it weird?" I turned to face her fully, setting the glass down harder than necessary. I quietly asked him to be more respectful. I didn't make a scene, didn't raise my voice, just had a simple conversation between men. Well, Patricia noticed the tension, and now things are awkward between all of us. Sharon stepped closer, her voice dropping to that controlled tone that meant she'd already decided how this would end. "I need you to apologize, Russell." I blinked, genuinely shocked. "Apologize?" "Yes. Fix this. Show him you respect our friendship and that you're not some jealous, controlling husband." There it was, the line that told me everything I needed to know. "Our friendship," she'd said. "Not my marriage, not my feelings, not our family's comfort. Their friendship." That single phrase hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. I set the glass down slowly, studying her face in the kitchen light. The defensive posture, the way she couldn't quite meet my eyes when she said, "family friend," the flush in her cheeks that appeared whenever she was hiding something. How had I missed it before? Or had I just not wanted to see what was right in front of me? "All right," I said quietly, my voice surprisingly steady. Sharon blinked, clearly caught off guard. She'd been prepared for a fight, ready with arguments and accusations about my jealousy. My calm agreement threw her completely. "Really? Just like that?" "Yeah, I'll apologize." I kept my voice calm and even, like we were discussing weekend plans. "I'll talk to Keith, clear the air between us." Her shoulders sagged with visible relief, and for a moment she looked like the woman I'd fallen in love with 29 years ago. "Thank you, Russell. I know this isn't easy, but it means so much to me. Keith's friendship is important." "I understand completely," I said, already planning. "I'll make sure we have a real conversation, a meaningful one." She smiled then, that beautiful smile that used to make my day, the one I'd worked 60-hour weeks to see. Except now it looked different somehow. Now it looked like victory, like she'd managed the situation perfectly and gotten exactly what she wanted. She had no idea what kind of conversation I was planning to have with Keith Bradley. "I'll call him tomorrow and set something up for the weekend," she continued, practically glowing with satisfaction. "Maybe we can all have dinner together soon. Put this whole thing behind us." "That sounds perfect," I agreed, though we both had very different definitions of putting things behind us. She kissed my cheek, a quick, grateful peck like she was rewarding a dog for good behavior. "Thank you for being reasonable about this. I was worried you'd make it into some big thing." I watched her walk away, her footsteps light and cheerful as she headed upstairs to change clothes. Her perfume lingered in the kitchen, a scent I didn't recognize, something floral and expensive that she'd started wearing about 6 months ago. I'd complimented it once, asked if it was new. She'd laughed and said a friend recommended it, but never mentioned which friend. Now I was starting to wonder. That night I couldn't sleep. Not because I was angry. Anger would have been simpler, cleaner somehow. What kept me awake was that cold, calculating clarity that comes when you finally stop lying to yourself about what you've been seeing. I lay in bed next to Sharon, listening to her breathe, watching the ceiling fan spin in the darkness. She'd fallen asleep easily, probably relieved that I'd agreed to apologize without the fight she'd been expecting. Meanwhile, my mind was running through months of small details I'd dismissed or explained away. The late-night phone calls she'd take on the back porch, saying it was her sister going through another crisis. The new perfume, the clothes that seemed a little too nice for running errands, how she'd angle her phone away when I walked into the room or quickly switch screens on her laptop when I came into the home office. The way she said Keith's name, soft, familiar, like it belonged in her mouth in a way that made my chest tighten. Around 2 a.m., I heard her phone buzz on the nightstand. Once, twice, 3 times in quick succession. Sharon stirred slightly but didn't wake. I waited 5 minutes, listening to her breathing return to its normal rhythm, then carefully reached over and picked up the device. No passcode. That was new, or maybe it wasn't, and I just hadn't been paying attention. How long had I been sleepwalking through my own marriage? The screen lit up with message previews that felt like punches to the gut. Keith, did you talk to him? Keith, is he going to apologize? Keith, miss you already. Hate that we have to be so careful around everyone. My chest tightened, but somehow I kept my breathing steady and quiet. I opened the messages fully, scrolling back through weeks of exchanges. Nothing pornographic or explicitly sexual, nothing that would hold up in divorce court, but it was all there in the subtext, the intimacy, the inside jokes, the thinking of you messages sent during my work days, the casual way they discussed their spouses like obstacles to be managed. I took screenshots methodically, one after another, my hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through me. Then I opened my email app and created a new folder labeled Documentation, sent everything to myself at my work address. Then I went deeper into her phone, photo gallery, shared albums, cloud storage accounts. She'd forgotten we were linked on the family plan years ago. There, buried in a folder marked Memories, I found a selfie from 2 months ago. Sharon in what looked like a hotel room, wine glass in hand, soft lighting making her look younger. The caption read, "Sometimes you need to feel alive again." I checked the metadata, taken in Louisville during her supposed solo trip to visit her college roommate. But I remembered now. Keith had posted a photo that same weekend from a Louisville waterfront restaurant, something about a business dinner. In the reflection of the window behind him, I could see a woman's silhouette that matched Sharon's build exactly. The timing, the location, it all clicked into place with sickening clarity. I downloaded everything I could find, creating a digital trail of evidence. Then I moved to our financial accounts. Bank statements, credit card records, anything I could access from her phone. There they were, cash withdrawals I'd never questioned. 300 here, 500 there, always on days she claimed to be out with her church friends or running errands. Hotel charges in cities where she'd supposedly been visiting family or attending work conferences. But here's what really made my blood run cold. I found charges to Keith's building supply company, Bradley Building Supply, that didn't match any orders I'd placed. Someone had been running purchases through our business account, expensive materials that never showed up at my job sites. Keith wasn't just screwing my wife, he was stealing from my company. Every nail, every sheet of drywall, every bag of concrete he'd fraudulently billed to my account was money that should have gone to payroll for my guys, equipment maintenance, legitimate business expenses. I pulled up my accounting software on the phone and cross-referenced the charges. Over the past 18 months, there were discrepancies totaling nearly $55,000. $55,000 of my hard-earned money, funding their affair while my employees worked their asses off believing they were building something honest. By 4 a.m., I had a folder full of evidence. Not suspicions, not paranoid theories, cold, hard facts, patterns of betrayal stretching back at least 2 years, maybe longer, a timeline of lies that made a mockery of every anniversary dinner, every family vacation, every time she'd kissed me goodbye and told me she loved me. I set her phone back on the nightstand exactly as I'd found it and lay back down. Sharon shifted beside me, murmuring something unintelligible in her sleep, her hand reaching out briefly before settling back on her pillow. For a moment, watching her sleep, I almost felt sorry for her. She had no idea that her carefully constructed double life was about to come crashing down around her. Tomorrow I'd start phase 2 of my investigation. Tonight I just needed to remember this feeling, this cold, clear certainty that would carry me through whatever came next, because things were about to get very messy, and I'd need every ounce of that clarity to see this through to the end. Friday morning I woke up with purpose coursing through my veins. Sharon was already in the shower, so I had a small window of opportunity. I grabbed her laptop from the home office. She always left it unlocked, another sign of how comfortable she'd gotten with her deception. I opened her email first. Most of it was mundane stuff: work correspondence, shopping confirmations, church newsletters, insurance reminders. But then I found a folder labeled Travel Plans that I'd never noticed before. Inside were confirmation emails for hotels I'd never heard her mention. Indianapolis 2 months ago, Louisville last month, Columbus 3 weeks back. Each booking showed 2 guests, always a king bed, always upgraded to include champagne service and late checkout. I photographed every email with my phone, building my case one piece of evidence at a time. Then I dug deeper into her cloud storage, following digital breadcrumbs that led me into folders within folders. Buried in a subfolder marked Backup 2023, I found a document simply titled Notes. It was a diary of sorts, short entries that read like confessions. March 15th. Told Russell I had a church retreat in Lexington. Keith met me at the Hampton Inn downtown instead. He makes me feel like I'm 30 again, like I'm worth pursuing. April 3rd. Another work conference excuse. This is getting easier every time. Russell never questions anything I tell him anymore. May 20th. Keith says he loves me and wants us to be together for real. I think I love him too. How did this happen? How did I become this person? June 8th. Russell's working so much lately, I barely feel married anymore. Keith understands what I need in ways my husband never has. July 2nd. Patricia suspects something, but she can't prove anything. Keith says we just need to be more careful until his kids graduate college. My hands were steady as I photographed each page, but inside something fundamental was reshaping itself. Not breaking exactly, transforming. Anger would have been simpler, more familiar. This was something colder, more calculating. This was strategy. I heard the shower shut off upstairs. I closed everything, put the laptop back exactly as I'd found it, and went downstairs to start coffee like it was any other morning. Sharon came down 20 minutes later looking fresh and professional in her blue business suit, the one I'd bought her for her birthday last year. "You're up early," she said, pouring herself coffee from the pot I'd made. "Couldn't sleep too well," I replied truthfully. "Been thinking about that conversation with Keith. When do you think I should reach out to him?" She brightened immediately like someone had flipped a switch. "Really? You're actually going to do it?" I said I would. I kept my voice steady, conversational. "Maybe this weekend? Are they free Saturday afternoon?" "I think so. Let me text him today and set something up." She was practically glowing now, probably thinking about how this would clear the way for more freedom, fewer complications. "Perfect," I said. "Let's get this handled." She kissed my cheek, a quick, grateful peck that felt like betrayal incarnate. "Thank you, Russell. This really means the world to me. I know Keith will appreciate the gesture." I watched her leave for work, her heels clicking confidently on the hardwood floor, her perfume lingering in the kitchen like evidence of a crime. That expensive perfume that Keith had probably bought for her with money stolen from my business. After she left, I called my accountant, Jerry Hoffman. We'd worked together for 15 years, and he knew my business inside and out. When I explained what I'd discovered about the fraudulent supply company charges, he went quiet for a long moment. "Jesus, Russell, if someone's been running fake invoices through your business account and pocketing the money, we're not just talking about adultery here. This is wire fraud, potentially money laundering if they've been moving funds across state lines." How much are we looking at total? Give me a few hours to pull everything together, but from what you're describing, we could be talking 60,000 or more. Maybe closer to 75. $75,000. Money that should have gone to payroll for my crew, new equipment, building up the business I'd spent 30 years creating. Instead, it had funded hotel rooms and fancy dinners and gifts for my cheating wife. The betrayal had layers I was still discovering. Jerry, I need you to document everything. Every fake invoice, every suspicious charge, every penny that doesn't add up. I want a paper trail that would make the FBI proud. You thinking about pressing charges? I'm thinking about a lot of things. That afternoon, I drove out to the job site where my crew was finishing a kitchen renovation for the Morrison family. Good people, salt-of-the-earth types who'd saved for 3 years to afford the work. Watching my guys, Tom, Pete, young Danny, fresh out of trade school, working with pride and precision, I felt something harden in my chest. These men depended on me for their livelihoods. Their families counted on steady paychecks from Hartwell Construction. And my wife had been stealing food from their tables to fund her affair. Wayne was there too, learning the business from the ground up like I'd done with my father 35 years ago. He looked up when I walked in, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Hey, Dad, how's the Morrison project looking?" "Good work," I said, meaning it. Real good work. But I was already thinking about Saturday afternoon and the folder that would change everything. Saturday afternoon at 1:45, I pulled up to the Bradley house. Nice colonial with white shutters, manicured lawn, 2-car garage, the kind of house that screamed middle-class success while quietly drowning in debt that I was apparently helping to finance. Keith's red pickup truck sat in the driveway next to Patricia's sedan, both vehicles nicer than anything my hard-working crew could afford. I grabbed the manila folder from my passenger seat. Plain, unremarkable, containing enough evidence to destroy 2 marriages and possibly send someone to federal prison. Walking up their brick pathway, I felt oddly calm, like I was heading into just another business meeting. Before I could knock, Keith opened the door with that politician's smile he'd perfected over years of selling building supplies. "Russell, come on in, man." He extended his hand like we were old friends meeting for Sunday football. I shook it, firm but brief. "Appreciate you having me over, Keith." The living room looked like something from a magazine spread. Patricia sat on their cream-colored couch looking smaller and more fragile than I remembered. Wearing a soft lavender cardigan that brought out her eyes, she gave me a tentative smile that carried genuine warmth. "Hi, Russell. Can I get you something to drink? Coffee, beer, sweet tea?" "No, thank you, Patricia. I won't take up much of your time." I chose the wingback chair across from them, setting my folder deliberately on the glass coffee table between us. The afternoon light coming through their bay window illuminated dust motes floating in the air like tiny witnesses to what was about to unfold. "I wanted to talk to both of you together," I said, meeting their eyes in turn. Keith settled next to his wife, draping his arm over the back of the couch in a gesture that would have looked protective if I didn't know what I knew. "Sure thing, Russell. Look, about last Sunday at the potluck. I think we just had a misunderstanding between friends." "Actually," I interrupted gently, "I'm not here about last Sunday. Well, not exactly." Patricia glanced between us, clearly sensing the shift in atmosphere. Her hand moved unconsciously to her throat, a nervous gesture I recognized from my own wife when she was hiding something. "Sharon told me I needed to apologize to you, Keith. She insisted on it, actually. Said I'd made you uncomfortable, embarrassed you in front of the church folks." I leaned forward slightly, my voice conversational but carrying an edge. "So I figured if I'm going to apologize, I should do it properly. Clear the air completely, no more misunderstandings between us." "Russell," Patricia said quietly, "what's this really about?" I opened the folder and pulled out the first document, a printout of text messages between Sharon and Keith, highlighted in yellow marker for easy reading. I placed it on the table facing them like I was presenting a business proposal. "This is from 3 nights ago. Miss you already. Hate that we have to be so careful around everyone. That's you, Keith, texting my wife at 11:30 p.m. while I was asleep in the next room." The color drained from Keith's face faster than water down a drain. "Russell, listen, I can explain." I held up my hand. "I'm not done with my apology yet." I laid out the next document with the precision of someone who'd spent 30 years reading blueprints. Hotel receipt from Louisville 2 months ago. 2 guests, king bed, champagne service upgrade. Sharon told me she was visiting her old college roommate Jennifer. I looked directly at Patricia. Funny thing is, Keith, you posted a photo from Louisville that exact same weekend. Small world, right? Patricia picked up the document with hands that had started trembling. As she read, her breathing became shallow and quick. The lavender cardigan suddenly looked too warm for her. And here, I continued, placing down bank records with the same methodical care, are charges from Bradley Building Supply to our business account, Hartwell Construction's account, the one that pays my crew's salaries and keeps food on their families' tables. $73,000 over the past 18 months, Keith, for materials that never showed up at any of my job sites. Keith stood abruptly, his salesman's composure finally cracking. You had no right to go through my business records. Your business records? I stayed seated, my voice deadly calm. See, that's where you're wrong. When you forge invoices and run fraudulent charges through my company account, it becomes my business. Every fake nail, every imaginary sheet of drywall, every non-existent bag of concrete you billed me for. I pulled out the final document, the one I'd been saving, and handed it directly to Patricia. And this is the hardest part of my apology. Medical records from 5 months ago. A pregnancy termination procedure. Your husband's name is listed as the emergency contact, Patricia. Not mine. His. Patricia's face went white as paper. She made a sound somewhere between a gasp and a whimper, like someone had knocked the wind out of her. Patricia, baby, let me explain. Keith reached for her desperately. She recoiled from his touch like he'd struck her. Don't, just don't. You see, I said quietly, looking at Patricia's devastated face. I had a vasectomy 5 years ago after Susan was born. Sharon drove me to the appointment herself. So when I found evidence she'd been pregnant recently, I knew it wasn't mine. I just didn't know for certain whose baby it was until I found these documents hidden in our bedroom closet yesterday morning. Keith's mouth opened and closed soundlessly. Patricia stood slowly, the medical records clutched in her shaking hands, and walked out of the room without another word. We heard her footsteps on the stairs, then a door slamming somewhere above us. Keith turned to me, all pretense finally stripped away. What do you want, Russell? I smiled without an ounce of warmth. I want to finish my apology. I want to finish my apology, Keith. I stood slowly, gathering my folder with deliberate care. So here it is. I'm sorry I didn't see what you really were sooner. I'm sorry I let you into my home, around my family, around my employees who trusted our business relationship, and I'm deeply sorry for what I'm about to do to your life. Keith's face contorted with desperate rage. Are you threatening me? No threats, just facts. I walked toward the door, my voice carrying the weight of 30 years in business and 28 years of marriage. Monday morning, the FBI Fraud Division gets a complete report on every fake invoice, every forged signature, every penny you've stolen. As a small business owner, I have zero tolerance for theft from hardworking people. You can't prove anything. I can, and I already have. Jerry's got everything documented with timestamps, account numbers, and digital fingerprints. You're also being named as co-respondent in my divorce proceedings. I paused at the doorway. Oh, and Keith? When Sharon calls you crying tonight, and she will, tell her I said the apology's been delivered. I let myself out, leaving him standing in his picture-perfect living room with his perfect life crumbling around his feet. The drive home felt surreal, like I was floating above my own life watching someone else's story unfold. Sharon's car was in the driveway when I arrived. She'd been at her Saturday yoga class, or so she claimed. These days I wondered if yoga was just another lie in her carefully constructed web of deception. When I walked in, she was in the kitchen making herbal tea, still wearing her yoga pants and that expensive athletic wear she'd started buying lately. She turned with a bright, expectant smile. Hey, how did it go with Keith? It went very well, I said, setting my keys down with deliberate precision. Extremely productive conversation. I'm so glad you two worked things out. She poured hot water into her favorite mug, the one Susan had made her in pottery class years ago. I knew you'd see that he wasn't a threat once you actually talked to him man to man. Oh, we definitely established what kind of threat he is. I leaned against the counter, studying her face. Actually, I talked to both Keith and Patricia. Thought it was important Patricia was there too. For complete transparency, you understand. Something flickered across Sharon's expression. Quick as lightning, but unmistakable. Fear. Patricia was there? I brought some documents to help illustrate my points. Hotel receipts, text messages, business records. I watched her carefully, noting every micro-expression. Medical records, too, from that clinic visit 5 months ago. The mug slipped from her hands and exploded against the tile floor. Scalding tea splashed across the kitchen, steam rising like smoke from a crash site. Sharon just stood there frozen, staring at the mess like she couldn't comprehend what had happened. "Sharon," I said, my voice carrying an eerie calm that surprised even me, "did you really think I wouldn't find out? Or did you just stop caring whether I did?" "It's not what you think," her voice came out as a whisper. "I think my wife has been having an affair with Keith Bradley for at least 2 years. I think she got pregnant with his child and terminated it without telling her husband, who had a vasectomy. I think she helped him steal over $70,000 from our business account to fund their relationship." I pushed off from the counter. "Tell me which part I'm wrong about." Sharon's eyes filled with tears that I no longer found moving. "Russell, I can explain everything. Save it for your lawyer." I walked past her toward the stairs, stepping carefully around the broken ceramic. "I filed for divorce yesterday. You'll be served papers Monday morning. I'm taking the kids to a hotel tonight, and you're going to stay here and think about what you've done to this family." "You can't take my children!" Her voice rose to near hysteria. I stopped halfway up the stairs and turned back to look at her. "Our children, Sharon. And yes, I can. Wayne and Susan both know what you've been doing. They've known for weeks. Wayne saw Keith's truck here that afternoon I was at the Columbus job site. Susan heard you on the phone last month making plans with someone who definitely wasn't me." The blood drained from her face. "They wouldn't betray their own mother. They didn't betray anyone. You did that all by yourself. They're just good kids who understand the difference between right and wrong, something they clearly didn't learn from you." 6 months later, both divorces were finalized. Sharon received minimal visitation rights, supervised by a court-appointed monitor after the fraud investigation revealed the full scope of her deception. Keith was terminated from Bradley Building Supply when the FBI charges became public record. His business partner bought out his shares for pennies on the dollar to avoid criminal association charges. Patricia and I started having coffee together a month after the confrontations. What began as mutual support between betrayal survivors slowly grew into something deeper, something built on honesty instead of deception. We took it slow, respectful of our healing process and our children's feelings. A year later, we married in a small ceremony attended by the people who truly mattered: our kids, real friends, and family members who chose truth over loyalty to lies. When Patricia walked down the aisle in her simple cream dress, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years: genuine happiness based on genuine trust. As we danced at our reception, Patricia whispered, "Do you ever regret how it all happened?" "Never," I replied. "The truth always finds a way to surface. The only question is whether you're brave enough to act on it when it does." That's the real insight here. Betrayal doesn't just happen to you. It reveals who you really are. You can choose to be a victim, or you can choose to fight for your dignity and build something better from the ashes.